The 2020 NBA Draft is upon us, and franchises are preparing for the next wave of talent to enter the association. For the majority of prospects, the global COVID pandemic put a hold on their ability to drive up their stock and move up the draft board. But for overseas wonder kid Deni Avdija, his play overseas, as of late, has skyrocketed his reputation right before the biggest night of his life. Avdija plays in the Israeli Premier League for EuroLeague powerhouse Maccabi Tel Aviv, and the league has been fully functioning for over a month now. Whilst the majority of prospects have been forced to stay inside the confinements of their living room, the 19-year-old has played his way into one of the leading players in a class. The Israeli Premier League was suspended for 3 months as the virus took a stranglehold on the globe and put the league on hold. As most of the basketball world paused, Avdija seized the moment and got to work. He dedicated himself to 2 workouts a day during the time off, including 6 a.m. sharp starts. The forward used this time to log countless hours in improving his shot and overall strength, 2 facets of the game he will need in order to succeed on American soil. The results of his work have been evident during the restart of the Premier League, and Avdija has moved into a potential top 5 lottery pick in the upcoming draft. 7 games in, and Avdija is putting the league on notice. His play has been so impressive that some of the front offices are scrambling to rearrange their preferences on who they will select on draft night. Prior to the pandemic, Avdija was coming off the bench, but has now solidified himself in the starting lineup. His role player status has suddenly disappeared, and he's currently averaging 17.3 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 3.3 assists per game as an integral part of Maccabi Tel Aviv's success. His superb production has diminished some question marks surrounding his game, and his transition into the league seems more comfortable as the days go on. Like all overseas prospects, concerns still linger on whether it can be emulated at the NBA level. For Avdija, his jump shooting was at the center of the concerns, despite being a 6'9" elite playmaking forward. His upside has always been based on his size, skill level, and basketball instincts, but CBS sports analyst Tim Doyle believes in the young star regardless. His basketball IQ, off the charts, I believe he's a top 5 talent. He has a great feel for the game, excellent passer. His swing skill will be, can he make shots? If he becomes a capable shooter, he can be a really good player. Doubts are now a thing of the past with Avdija. Simply put, he's definitely worthy of being a top 5 pick in the draft. The dedication to improvement in all necessary NBA requirements during the time off has comprehensively paid dividends. Before the pandemic, Avdija was an average 3-point shooter at 35% and shooting under 60% from the free throw line. Since the return, Avdija has been elite from beyond the arc at 41%, 54% from the field, and connecting on 72% of his attempts from the charity stripe. Due to his versatility and tough-nosed playing style, Avdija's biggest selling points are ironically what most international prospects lack. He excels with the ball in his hands and surprisingly already has NBA range. Since his return to the floor, his offensive talents have been on show. With an obvious increase in confidence, he has been relentless in attacking closeouts, finishing at the rim, and creating for others, all which have come naturally to him. For the first time since popping up on the NBA radar, front offices are seriously considering Avdija as their franchise player. It's hard to believe that a player with his Swiss Army knife skill set was anticipated to go late in the first round, but that was the reality just a month ago. The Minnesota Timberwolves, Golden State Warriors, and Charlotte Hornets hold the first 3 picks, and they have a very important decision to make on draft night that could shape their future for the next decade. Only time will tell whether or not any will take the chance on Avdija, but perhaps they should, given the shallowness of his class. Any one of those organizations could use a skilled big man, but like all prospects, their progression is often directly associated with their situation. The Timberwolves are in desperate need of another talented frontcourt player to pair with former All-Star Karl Anthony Towns. After acquiring dynamic guard D'Angelo Russell last campaign, the Wolves need to stack their roster with as much talent as they can in order to compete in the brutal Western Conference. As for the Warriors, they fielded the smallest team in the league last season. Avdija's size would help in that respect and provide them much-needed production from their front court, considering most of their points are generated from the backcourt duo of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. In the Hornets' case, they struck gold last season with Devonte Graham, but even with his coming out party, the franchise is still searching for their cornerstone since the departure of Kemba Walker. When comparing all 3, the Hornets would be the most pressure-free environment for Avdija. The roster isn't expected to make any noise next season, and the ability to lodge watch meaningful NBA minutes in a situation that has room for mistakes could be ideal. This is also important when considering the fact Avdija has to transition to the American way of life and get comfortable with the pace of the league. Whether Avdija is off the draft board within the first 5 picks remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure, his stock has increased dramatically over the last month with the NBA world taking notice. Do you think Avdija has what it takes to shine in the NBA? Let us know in the comments.